For the next few days and weeks, schools from all over this area are going to be honoring the young people that are in front of you tonight. There will be ceremonies that commend their academic achievements over the last 13 years. Graduating from high school is a notable accomplishment. Well done, all of you. And a cherished memory. Enjoy the moment. But there's something more important that brings this special group of people together tonight. Something that I think is far more important about these young people than just what they've done academically at school the last few years. In Ecclesiastes, as Solomon begins to write, or to conclude that great letter, he writes this. He says, "Rejoice, young man, during the days of your childhood, and let your heart be pleasant during the days of your young manhood. Follow the impulses of your heart, the desires of your eyes, yet know that God will bring you to judgment for all these things. So remove anger and grief from your heart and put away pain from your body, because childhood and the prime of life are fleeting. Remember also your Creator in the days of your youth, before the evil days come and the years draw near, when you will say, I have no delight in them." I think more importantly than what these kids have done academically, which surely is important, is that these are young people who've chosen to remember their Creator in the days of their youth. They've made a decision to serve God, and a decision that wasn't reflected just one time when they obeyed the gospel or through some single act of service, but as our church family has observed, has been exhibited in so many ways over the years that they have been growing up. They didn't wait until they were grown up to begin serving God. They served Him as they grew up. And so tonight we acknowledge the academic achievements. You can look around on the tables back there and see all of that. But we acknowledge something tonight even more important. The faith of these young men and women. The thing that is really important. So we've got a couple of things planned tonight. Just a moment, I'm going to ask Wesley if he would come to lead us in a word of prayer that will begin the evening. And then the seniors and all of our high school students will be serving some wonderful desserts. So you got to help out with that too. Yeah, that's how it works. But all the high school students, that'll help us out. The rest of you can be helping yourself to drinks while all that's going on. We'll have a good time, enjoy some really great desserts, and then we've got some other activities planned for the rest of the evening. But let's begin by asking God's blessing. Come on up here, Wesley. Say a prayer for us, and then if I can get all the high school kids immediately after that to come help us, we'll start serving.
Let's pray. Father in heaven, we bow before you once again, giving you thanks for this day of life that you blessed us with, to rise from our bed this morning and to begin this day and to get to this very point in our lives this evening. We're so grateful for these 8 young people, as David has said, who have committed themselves to you and to your Son, our Savior Jesus Christ. Father, we realize that there's nothing more important than their souls, because it's going to live forever with you or apart from you. So we pray, Father, for every one of them, that they may remember the things that they have been taught, the scripture that is so close to their heart, to remember your Creator in the days of your youth. Father, we thank you for every mother and father, grandmother and grandfather who have been with these young people over many years, and for the faithfulness that they've demonstrated to you, and for the examples that they've been to their grandchildren and to their children, and for these young people being friends to one another, to be able to hold one another accountable, that they may have someone to be accountable to besides their parents and their grandparents, the preachers and the elders. Father, we ask you to be with them, that they will remember the relationships that they've had, and that they may maintain them, to encourage one another to live godly for you each and every day of their lives. We ask you to be with each one of us as we prepare to eat this food that has been prepared. Father, we thank you for all the good workers that we have in this congregation, for the food that has been prepared. We ask you to bless it to the nourishment of our bodies, and help us to use our bodies in our service. In Jesus' name, amen.
So we have a tradition. I don't think anybody gets where they are in life without the help of other people. And I think that the young men and women in front of you tonight understand that though they've accomplished a lot of things and they've reached an important life milestone, that they didn't get here by themselves. And so one of our traditions is that we ask them to acknowledge some special people in their life who have helped them get where they are, and to give some thought to that and put together a little speech to tell all of you how they feel about that. It is for them the most terrifying part of the evening, and for us, sweet revenge as we get to watch them do that. So anyway, y'all just go in the order that's on the page. And Colton, Brandon, obviously order is something you're still doing. Colton's going to go first.
Well, good evening. Thank you all for showing up. So, many things go into the development of a child's life, such as school environment, types of friends, and similar things like that. Even the smallest things have an impact. And throughout all of it, the parent is the most important part and the most influential part of everything. And as life moves on, I've begun to realize this more and more. How blessed I am to have my mom. She supported me through thick and thin and has stood behind me through the hardest times and always pushing me to do my best. Along with her, I want to thank my grandparents and that family and for doing everything along with that. Without them, I wouldn't be anywhere near anything close to who I am today. But I do thank them for everything they have done for me. I'm very lucky and very blessed to have a family I have.
Mom and Dad, I'm honored to call you my parents. You two are the perfect blend of everything that makes me so happy to be your daughter. Thank you for loving me and taking care of me for all these years. I appreciate it so much, even though I barely realize it myself. Mom, you are always there for me, even when I don't realize it. You do everything for me and then some. I don't appreciate it, and I know that without you telling me. Thank you for being there for me for whatever I need. Now, Dad, there are really no words to describe how I feel about you. It really brings me to tears when I think of all the girls who don't have fathers, because having you in my life is so special. You work for everything I have, and without you, I wouldn't know what real love is. You showed me what it's like to have true unconditional love. You showed me what it's like to care for someone, but most importantly, you showed me what it is to be faithful and merciful. You really are the greatest thing in my life. I hope I make you happy with whatever I do, and I hope that you can see me succeed and make you happy to be my father.
I want to thank all the parents for everything that they have done for us all. There are two that I would like to thank personally though. Mom, thank you for everything you've done from teaching me discipline, to bringing me to all my extracurricular activities, to coaching for me in basketball and baseball. And Dad, thank you for all the things that you've done for me, from providing a house for me to live in, providing my food on the table, providing everything. And thank you for teaching me discipline and whatever I did wrong. And thank you for providing me a job where I could learn proper workplace etiquette and everything. I also want to thank you both for teaching me manners and how to behave in the world. Thank you both for being the two of the best parents that anyone could ask for.
Well, so far I feel like the speeches have been about this long, and mine is about this long. So, here we go. Everyone settling? So as I look back at the time that I spent in school, I don't really regret being unable to go to pep rallies or football games because of work. And my mind doesn't tend to linger on certain memories of homecoming tailgate parties or the field trips that I've taken with my class throughout the years. But one thing that I do think of are all the times that I've been sitting in the car with my mom, and I've just had this question that pops up into my head, like, where does McDonald's get its food? Where do chicken nuggets come from? Do brown cows really make chocolate milk, as my mom told me? And so if you bought our house, why are you still paying for it? Can I buy a chocolate bar and make payments on that? And I would just have all these seemingly absurd questions that I genuinely wanted to know the answer to. And I think because she answered all of those questions, that when the really heavy questions came up, I knew I could come to her to find guidance. So throughout the years, she has been my mentor when I need advice, my comedian when otherwise boring days would have ate away at my joy, and my shoulder to cry on when life just seemed like too much. And I'm very thankful for all that you've done for me, Mom. And throughout the years, but we all know it takes a village to raise a child. And one of the most prominent members in my village has been my mama. Before my sister, Caitlin, could drive, Mama would pick us up from school every day, along with my cousin Alex. She would also bring us to the doctor when one of us was sick. She would let us stay with her when one of our parents was out of town. And without her, instead of my mom being crazy, she would just go completely insane from all the stress of taking care of us alone. And we all know it. And one person who has been always forced or just loved me all by herself was my sister, Caitlin. I remember all the times that I've gotten in trouble for throwing pillows at her because I knew she was just too frail to take a punch. We've seen the injuries. But in recent years, she has taught me a lot about growing up and that I have to decide for myself what I will stand up for. Although we have been forced from time to time to hug out our differences, I wouldn't want to be raised by a crazy woman without anyone else. Another thing that has stuck in my mind these past few weeks is the fact that I've been blessed to have a good church family. There's a certain mindset among Christians that the world just doesn't understand. It's the idea that even if I don't know you, you're my brother or my sister, so I'll make sure you're taken care of. And I've seen this mindset, I've seen it demonstrated for the past 8 years when all of you had feed me Little Caesars pizza after evening services for every week. So if that's not love, then what is? And on a serious note, I remember before I was baptized, I would be up late at night thinking, did I really want to live this lifestyle my parents or my mom was trying to teach me? And I thought about my church family and how I can't find that anywhere else. And I thought, if God designed that, then how could I not serve Him? So I just want to thank all of you, my church family, for being part of that realization of just how much God does take care of us. And I'll miss you all when I move away, but I won't forget all that you've done for me.
Okay, so that's loud. So, a little bit about my family. There's a lot of us. There's 6 of us living under one house, plus if grandparents want to visit, both sets of grandparents at that, totaling to around about 10 people in a family. Now, if that's not a stressful situation, I don't know what is. Forget about my family. My birth was a very complicated one. As majority of you all know, I was a preemie, meaning that I was supposed to be born around, wasn't it January 10th or 11th? January 10th. I was born October 20th. So if that doesn't cause health complications, maybe high school will. I managed to survive multiple surgeries. Doctors never thought I would walk, read a book, ride a bike, be sarcastic, or stand up here and talk. But first off, so the one person who literally birthed me and raised me Mom, you're awesome. We're not perfect, we fight. I look like the majority of your side of the family anyways, but hey, I got good looks. Dad, I think the only thing I got from you was my height. That's about it. I'm sorry. But I know we're not the closest, and I know I can't tell you I love you every time because I am insensitive and, well, very shy, I guess, maybe self-reserved as that little senior paper said, I don't know. But I do love you, I care for you a lot, even if I'm a little bit gruff about it. Grandma and Grandpa, thank y'all for putting up with Zach and I as we grew up, as we would play up until like 1 in the morning playing Weasel, messing with each other under the covers, and Grandma would have to check in a good 20 times per night. And I think eventually one of us would have to go sleep on the couch. Grandpa, thank you for being there for me whenever I needed some really good life advice, and you've always been there not to judge and just give wholeheartedly. Grandma, thank you for fussing at me, even though we all just were like, we knew you did it out of the best of your abilities and out of the bottom of your heart. To my Opa and my Nana. Opa, thank you very much. You have given me the role model of what a true man is. And without you, I don't think I would be where I'm at today. To my siblings. Ooh. All right. So, Zach, you were always scared that I was going to be taller than you. You were just always so scared. I mean, you were like, Mom and Dad would tease you almost every day. Oh, he's going to pass you up, he's passing you up. And I see that used to stop growing. I'm like 5'9", you're 5'9 and a half, 5'10". You just like to hold that over my head, don't you, Mr. Pre-Med? Oh, and about you on your little senior speech about how you said if you wanted to fight me anytime, anywhere. Hey, remember that Tennessee cabin? Yeah, I remember it. Who won? Yeah. To my little sister. Grafton, if you ever hurt her, I will find you. To my little sister, I'm glad that we have gotten to grow closer over the years as you've been my little confidant for all the people I've had an interest in, given your personal and rather abrupt opinion. Yeah, you're right. Now, if you go off to Washington, I'm gonna have to side with Miss Petula, you're not going. You're staying here. So, if you do go up, I will miss you, but I want to let you know that I love you. Now, Jeremy, I love you. I may not express it. The way that I want to. I'm like my life, scared for the future, but I know that with God, we can do anything. We'll work it out.
Amen.
Now, about my friends. Marcus, I don't know what happened to you. You went from like looking like a peanut head to... Hey, I'm doing good now, bud, all right? Reagan? Now, Reagan, you're a good guy. I got you. Now, you went from spiky hair to Justin Bieber. I don't know what does. Colton. When are you gonna go to the lake? That's all I gotta ask. You're always there. Now, Taylor, where are you at? I would want to roast you, but, I'll save that for the next Woodlands trip. Now, I noticed I didn't say anything about Casey or Amarachi. I know very well. Okay, if y'all haven't seen Casey's Snapchats, just get the app and download it. Amarachi, you're cool. I don't know you all well, but you're awesome. Now, I told myself I wouldn't ramble for really long or anything. I kind of just got out there. Let's see. Also, the Caitlin for teaching me how to bake, even though I knew nothing about, I was virtually useless in the kitchen, not gonna lie. Yeah, that's basically about it. But,
I didn't really know where to start when I wrote this, but I want to thank y'all for coming to this wonderful event to honor us. And I just appreciate the support and wise wisdom over the past 17 years, as well as boosting my self-esteem, not only in person, but on Facebook. To my friends, I just want to thank y'all for the amazing friendships we have created throughout the years. I will never forget the sleepovers at Reagan's house. Many of the stories about that we're not going to discuss. If you want to find out, just hit me up after that. Yeah, I'm going to miss those moments. To all my other seniors, I'm just blessed to be a part of a really good youth group, because not many churches have this type of thing, but just thank you guys all. There's really no place like Dowlen Road, so since I'm going to Lamar, nothing's really going to change, and I just I want to be able to grow with people I've been knowing my whole life. So yeah. And I'm glad to stay home. I get some of my mom's home cooking. You know me well, food is my first love. Just kidding, but honestly, I'm probably gonna take a dessert platter home. As you can tell, I'm pretty laid back, and I love to joke around. But one thing important to me is my family. Let me tell you about my family. The things I learned from them is that anything is possible. We wasn't the richest, but my parents, they always provided. And when things happened, we overcame, and I'm grateful for that. I'm very blessed to have the best big sister ever in the world. When I was first born, my sister, she was so happy to have me. But after 17 years, I suggest y'all go ask her now, I bet that's changed. But yeah, it's a lot of memories we had together. From being, like, literally in all my baby pictures, like, there's not one picture of me alone. Like, seriously. And at one time, she had been my mom for a whole day, remember that? Yeah. I got all the dessert I wanted. And she also wrote my papers too. I hope there's no teacher that said yeah, I remember being at church graduation and sitting on the front row, being the only one dressed in church clothes. I'll talk about that. But I just remember all the times Mom and Dad, they would just leave us alone and we like fighting things. Like it was crazy. Y'all can do that. But yeah, after hearing this, y'all probably think we're crazy, but we're not crazy. But you know, I love my sister. She's my best friend. To my parents, you're the best parents in the entire world. I love you so much, and it's just so many memories and things I can say about my parents. My dad, man, my dad, he can make me laugh, like crying tears. He's also my workout partner, so I keep him motivated. Just and he taught me how to drive as well. So, and he's really hardworking. He does a lot for us. And my mom, she's very beautiful. You're welcome. I just thank you for helping me with my homework, staying up with me at night till like 12, doing projects and stuff like that. And honestly, she's like one of the best cookers I ever met in my life. So, you know, hey, that's why I'm staying home. Not just kidding. But yeah, I just want to thank them for teaching us right from wrong and just supporting us when other kids didn't even like have two parents. You know, it's just really a blessing to have that, and just seeing them just like work their tails off just to provide for me and my sister. You know, it really motivated me to, you know, pay them back. So I'm gonna do. And I always thought I was a pretty bad kid. They always told me I was pretty good, so I took it where I could. But one thing that I can credit my parents is for teaching me, like bringing me to church and putting me around a good set of people like you guys. And I think one of the best decisions ever was getting baptized. I honestly don't know where I would be today without doing that. Some of y'all probably remember me as the 4-year-old who like just ran around the church parking lot just being crazy. Yeah, did I mention I was hard-headed? Yeah. And I'm all grown up and just looking at all these throwbacks and just all that, it's crazy. And we all grew up. Just want to thank you all.
Well, I know the phrase is usually save the best for last, but they were wrong in this case. All right. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Good night. Sorry. That's what Mr. Bannon told me not to do. But I thought I'd just elaborate on that some. And thank you for my humor. As some of you might know, I think I'm a pretty funny guy. A practical and impractical joker, if you will. Well, you all have them to thank for that. I'm sorry. In all seriousness, I wouldn't be the person I am today without them. They laughed at all my bad jokes whenever no one else would, and they gave me the confidence whenever I had none. Thank you for all the late nights doing homework. You helped me get through all of school, as terrible as it was, and taught me whenever I had no idea what I was doing. It's happened a lot. You understood whenever things came up, or if I just should have messed up, and even somewhat tolerated my procrastination. Kind of. You helped me through physics and calculus, and you always pushed me to do my best, even the most difficult of classes. Thank you for coming to as many of my extracurriculars as you could. Now, some of you might know I like band, and by that I mean marching band is life. I love being in band, and like many other things I enjoy, my parents always supported me. Granted, it wasn't always all that much. I mean, it's not like they watched my terrible middle school concerts in a hot, sweaty gym, or drove 3 or 4 hours to watch Lumberton lose another football game, just to watch our 8-minute show. Oh, and let's not forget the official Mighty Rig Band YouTube channel. Needless to say, they went above and beyond to support my musical career, and I'm grateful every day for all the sacrifices they made to support me in this. And thank you for helping me whenever I needed it, whether it was simple instructions on topics, I'm a professional that way, or just helping me whenever school or life just stressed me out. You were always there for me whenever I needed it, and I'll never be able to thank you enough for what you've done and all the sacrifices you've made. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you giving me a few minutes to speak tonight and to talk to the grads and talk to everyone just for a moment. You know, this week and next, commencement speeches are going on all over America. Grads will hear hundreds or even thousands of those in the next several days. And grads are being told, especially when you're leaving high school, that this is the most important step that you will make into adulthood. It's not just the end of public school for you, but it's the entrance into a whole new world for you. I don't think that's the case. Actually, the bigger step is when you leave home, when you go off to school, or when you get married, or when you just decide to move out on your own. That's a much bigger step than graduating high school, because you're not going to have your parents who have loved you, who raised you, who supervised you up to that point. you're going to actually be on your own, and that's a really big deal. And when you do that, you want to make sure that you leave home with wisdom. Secondly, at commencement speeches across America this week, grads are being told that your generation faces unprecedented challenges that call for new solutions and new ways of thinking. And that, again, may not be so. Humanity has been around for a long time, at least 6,000 years, and things are not much different today than they have ever been. Men, women, the human race, we're the same today as we were 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. And the things that were right and true 1,000 years ago are right and true today. And so be wise. Choose what is right and true. And again, at commencement speeches across America, grads are being told, hold on to your principles. Never compromise your beliefs. Be deeply committed to your beliefs. That's good, I suppose, if your principles and beliefs are right. But if you have the wrong principles and wrong beliefs, you would do well to compromise them. And that really raises a question, and that is, what are the right principles and right beliefs that you should hold in life? What kind of person should you be? There's one thing that I know about these 7 grads, and everyone else in this room tonight, and you're going to agree with me, you want to be a wise person. Nobody wants to be regarded as a fool. You want wisdom in life. Now, there's a man in the Bible who is known for wisdom. That's King Solomon. And in Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 7, Solomon said, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. And in all you're getting, get understanding. Solomon said that wisdom will provide you with the right principles, the right beliefs. Wisdom will give you what you need when you move out of your house and are on your own. Wisdom will give you the good sense to face the challenges of life. Wisdom will provide you with what you want in life. Where do you get wisdom? Well, I brought 2 Bibles up here, and so I've got double-barreled help on getting wisdom tonight. I'm going to read from Proverbs chapter 2, just 8 verses. But I want you to see what Solomon says as he speaks to his son and how he speaks of the value of getting wisdom. He says, my son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding, indeed, if you call out for insight, and you cry aloud for understanding, if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and the knowledge of God, for the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the life. It's amazing at these graduation ceremonies, the commencement speaker says, oh, go out and just be a great success in the world, without telling people how. You need to follow God to find success. That's what Solomon said in chapter 2 of the book of Proverbs. Success means you know what is the right path in life, and that's what Solomon speaks of as he counsels his son. Compare with sister. Long life is in her hand. In her left hand, riches and honor. That's what wisdom will provide for you. And yet, how many people are really seeking after wisdom? And so, Christian, what I would recommend to you, son, is to not do what most of us have done. We waited until later in life to get wisdom. And one older gentleman years ago, I was in my 20s, and I think this man may have been 80 years old. He said to me, he said, young man, we get too soon old and too late smart. And that is the truth. And so I would say to Christian, choose God's wisdom while you're young. And I say that to each of you this evening. To Amarachi. Amarachi, you're one of only 2 girls in our group of grads. And Solomon speaks not just to young men, he also speaks to young women. And he says this in Proverbs chapter 2. He says, wisdom will save you from the ways of wicked men. And I will tell you, folks, there's plenty of wicked men out there in the world. And young ladies need to be protected from the ways of wicked men. Do I have any parents who would agree with that? Yes. Oh, come on, guys. You can do better than that. Yes. Oh, you would agree with that. Okay. So, Solomon gives words of wisdom to young ladies. And Listen, Amarachi, you have been raised in a godly home. I know things about your dad that you may not know. Before he ever met your mom, before your dad ever came down to Southeast Texas, he was going to school up in Ohio. I know you know that. But on one occasion, the church building where he was going to worship that day was just over 20 miles away, and he had no transportation. He walked 20 miles to get to worship. You ponder that, folks. You ponder that. Sometimes, if our car breaks down, we would walk 6 blocks to get to worship. 20 miles. You've been raised by godly parents, and they have been a blessing to you in so many ways. And make it your goal in life to live by the standards that your parents have set for you. God's hand of blessing will be upon you if you continue to do that. And of course, to Casey, I would say the same to you. Your mother has given you good guidance in pointing you in the way of wisdom. And Casey, I have to say this, that your graduation brings a little sadness and a tear to our eyes. Because Casey is going to be moving away, but she's going to still be with her mom, moving to Arkansas. And some of these other kids are going off to college, but you're going off to another state. Now, after you've been in Arkansas a little while, you realize how good you had it. Listen, we want Casey to know this. And everyone here, I want you to make sure you tell her something like this tonight. We want Casey to know that she's always welcome to return to our fellowship.
Amen. So we want pizza?
Casey, sincerely, we love you and we will miss you very much when you move away. I know you will. And then Colton Cleveland. You know, I almost feel like at this point I should address the final 4 boys together as the 3 or 4 musketeers, or if we add Christian to that, we've got the 5 musketeers. These last 4 boys that I'm going to speak regarding, 4 young men, they've spent so much time together in devos on Sunday night, 2 or 3 times a month, overnight gatherings, purity retreats, and they have developed a special relationship with one another. And Colton, you have been with us the least amount of time of these final 4 boys. But your service to God and your dedication to God, son, your dedication has been exemplary. And so many people in our congregation admire you because of your faith and because of your love for God. And I want you to know that we love you very much, and we love your family very much. Amen. From this end to that end. God bless all of you. God bless all of you. You're all raising a fine young man. May God's blessings be upon you, Colton. To Sean Hansel, you know, you got a lot of your brother in you. Because 2 or 3 years ago, Zach got up here and rambled for, I don't know, 3 hours? I know I'll be corrected, it was only 2.5 hours. There's some of that in Sean. You've been with us here at Dowlen Church for a little longer than Colton. But one of my greatest memories of you, son, is the day you were baptized. I remember when you walked down that aisle, turned that corner to sit on the front seat, and you were as scared as any kid I have ever seen. And I'm speaking seriously. He was frightened. But this young man was convicted by the gospel, just as these others have been. But he showed it so much on his face. You were so frightened when you came down that aisle. That took faith and courage to take that step, to obey Jesus in baptism in front of 400 people. May you always be a young man of faith and courage. And Sean, continue to develop that deep voice. Almost every time I see Sean, I go up to him and say, "How you doing, son?" He says, "I'm doing really good, Mr. Maddox." don't have a deeper voice than old Max. But continue to cultivate that voice. You don't know what God may have in store for you. And then to Marcus Pollard. All four of you young men have been raised in the nurture and admonition of the Lord, and you can count that as a blessing. That's a blessing that no one can ever take away from you, no matter what may happen in life. There's a passage in Proverbs 22:16 which says, train up a child in the way he should go, and he will not depart from it when he is old. You've been trained up in the way that you should go. And Marcus, it's often the case that we need the help of our friends to lean on in difficult days. In Proverbs chapter 27, verse 17, the wise man said, as iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. And the idea is we help one another in life. And these 4 or 5 young men here, that's why we can kind of group them together, because they have helped and encouraged one another. And they can apply peer pressure to one another, to hold one another accountable in doing right. You know the song, Marcus. Lean on me when you're not strong. We all need somebody to lean on. And I will tell you, folks, Marcus is a stable young man that others can lean on. And may all of you young men learn to lean on one another, because you'll do better in life if you lean on one another. And then, where's Reagan? Reagan Cruz. You, like each of the other grads, have accomplished so much, Reagan. Not just in school activities, though there are several things in your school activities for which you can be commended. You become a fine song leader. I noted in one of those pictures, did you know one of those baby pictures? He had his hand up like this, and the next move was like this, and then he's ready to lead singing. You become a fine song leader, and like some of these other young men, you have led more than 400 people in our congregation in the taking of the Lord's Supper. Do you realize how few young men at age 17 or 18 have done anything like that? And you know, David and I have been around for a long, long time. You combine our preaching experiences, I'm not sure how many years, but it's a lot. But you know, there are congregations that really don't want young people up, and you know, they'll get their turn when they get in their 20s or 30s. That's not how we do things at Dowlen Road. On your graduation announcement, Reagan, it says, Reagan has truly been a blessing to his parents and his family. And I would add to that Reagan, you have been a blessing to the church family also. And these others have been a blessing. It has been a delight to work with you through your elementary years, your middle school years, and high school years. And I would just say that to all of you that we love you very much. Each of you have assets given you by God. And whatever you do the rest of your life, you conduct yourself in such a way that you give God the glory for your life. I've spoken to you tonight from the writings of Solomon, words of wisdom. Where does wisdom come from? Proverbs 9:10, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And I will close with one final reference. I call this a text for all seasons. I've used it at weddings, funerals, the birth of a baby. It's a powerful passage in Proverbs chapter 3 and verses 5 and 6, where the scripture says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. That's good advice for our grads. That's good advice for all of us. May God bless us all. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
So Paul Simeon have a last word. I want to do a couple of things. First of all, this event doesn't happen by accident, but by the work of a lot of people. So if you had a hand in putting this event together, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. David Rogers and Kathy need to raise their hand. Sarah needs to poke her head out. Alan's hiding in the dark. There's Amy. Was it reserved? family, what a blessing their church family has been. And I've acknowledged the people that helped with tonight, but the truth is, a lot of you have helped over the years. If you've taught a Bible class for one of these young people, would you raise your hand? Keep it up. If you've hosted a Devo at your house for these young people, would you raise your hand? If you've chaperoned a trip, God bless you. Would you raise your hand? And put their hands down. And I will tell you what you don't know is unbeknownst to you, is the times the kids have been watching and been inspired by your example. So how about a nice round of applause from all of you for all. So one last thing I'd like to say, and I say the same thing every single year I do this. First of all, I'm sorry I left and missed your entire high school. Reagan reminds me about that weekly. And I do, as I listen, and I really feel like I missed something. And I'm sad about that. But I'm excited about all of you. We have a motto we use with our young people. It defines our mission with them. The motto is summed up in 3 words: equipped to serve. We don't want our kids to think about serving God when they get to this point in life. We want them to already know what they can do for God, to have those talents honed and developed so that when they go to other places, like some of you will be doing, or if you're hanging around Dowlen Road, we want you to be equipped to serve. That is our mission. And so, that's what's happened to you guys. Over the years, your talents have been honed. You found your niche in the kingdom of God, or your niche if you're an HGTV fan, and you found ways that you could serve. And so, the last word that I have for you tonight, you've been trained. You've developed your abilities. It's time for you guys to go serve. And that's what we want to see you do. God bless you. We have to be out of here in 25 minutes. So I'm going to try to squeeze a bunch of stuff in. Lester's going to come up here in just a second, and we're going to have a prayer to wrap this up. And then I'm assuming we're going to have to do some exit stuff. But Cindy also has set up a slideshow. So we're going to do all that at the same time. Okay? But we do have to be out in about 25 minutes. Thank you all very much for coming tonight. Lester, come on up here. This mic's freaking out, so good luck with that. Let's close with the Lord's blessing.
Would you bow with me, please? Most holy and righteous Father, we humble ourselves before your divine presence. God, thanking you for the many blessings that you have given unto us this day, where we can assemble ourselves in one place and stand up here and give encouragement to these young people who have graduated from high school and now about to embark into another life. God, we give thanks to the grandparents. We give thanks to the parents of these children. God, we thank you for those who had influence in these children's lives, teaching them, encouraging them, building them up when they're torn down. God, thank you. And now, Father, as we leave this place, but never your presence, God, be with these young people. Throw your ever-loving arms around them. Help them to always be mindful that they can lean on you when times are hard and when times are good. They can still lean on you. And know that they have family back home that are nothing but a phone call away. Father, it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.